if I'm a proper chewer, if I let my bites melt inside of my mouth, having small bites initially and chew them properly, I can turn even a piece of my leather belt into something digestible.
Wow.
But at the same time, if I'm not chewing the piece of corn that was inside of the salad or on top of my pizza or in the curry, I will find this corn again afterwards inside of the toilet. And I had no benefit of it.
We have here with us Dr. Sepp Fegerl from Viva Mayr in El Pausi. Now, Viva Mayr, as a lot of you know, is a medical spa in Austria. And it's based on the FX Mayr principle that we become healthy, happy, and more efficient by temporarily changing our normal diet. And also it appeals a lot to me because we grew up with the concept of Ayurveda, where the gut and digestion are very important, as they are at Viva Mayr. Why is digestion so important?
Digestion is very important because it allows us to turn what we consume, what we swallow, to be turned inside of our body into gold that is nourishing us, that is providing us with energy and substance, so that we can live a happy and powerful life, that we can target and our aims and develop further. That is important because beside of sunshine and of course experiencing love, it's the only way of how we really allow something good to happen inside of our body that is making us strong.
What would you say are the main causes of indigestion?
The main cause of indigestion nowadays is that we just consume too much of the wrong thing in too little time and without really spending attention on it. And that is leading to a vicious circle, because if I'm not able to digest properly with what I consume, I suffer from maldigestion. And maldigestion is not providing me with energy, but actually is costing me energy. And the only thing that I gain and get are not the nutrients, but really the calories, and the calories themselves are not making me happy. The calories are actually very often pushing me into a state of ongoing inflammation that is inside of the body. And with the inflammation, we do suffer from so many of the civilization's diseases that we nowadays have to face. We estimate our process of digestion to be finished and done once we manage to swallow the bite we have inside of the mouth. And that is not true, because nutrients that we need are just size of single molecules. And to transform a bite or the food, no matter of how well it was prepared, into something small, as small than that, really, size of single molecules, just a bunch of a few atoms, we need all of our digestion tools. We need a proper stomach acid that is produced, that is working on it. We need fantastic composition of enzymes that are produced by our pancreas, by our small intestine, by the stomach and the liver. And all these things need to be mixed underneath each other and build a proper chyme. And this chyme then needs to meet an open surface, an absorbable ready surface in the intestine, to really allow the nutrients then to enter the body.
So what would you say are the first signs that your digestion isn't working properly?
That's actually something very simple and very easily to experience. Because if you do feel that what you are doing to nourish yourself, to allow yourself to be active, for example, and to receive energy, is not working properly, and you are feeling pushed out of your ideal state of health, this is then always happening on top of a basic problem, and the basic problem there is the maldigestion and inflammation going on. Energy levels, cravings, for example, are typical. And the problem is, whenever there is a maldigestion happening inside of our belly, it is affecting the biggest surface of all human body surfaces that we have, to make a difference between the outside and the inside of the body. If I irritate the surface, my immune system starts to try to defend, tries to repair the surface. And that only happens through the process of inflammation. And what was starting as maybe a local irritation because an idli too much or too quick or too late consumed, is suddenly turning in a systemic inflammation that is leading to a high in cortisol, a high in insulin, and with that changing my endocrinological as well as my metabolic reality. And suddenly I'm not experiencing myself to be the man or the woman that I'm meant to be.
How does digestion affect things like mental health and anxiety and depression?
Please forgive me this example, but I think all of us will agree that it is making us happy to have received a beautiful meal, to feel afterwards nourished and satisfied and not heavy or like a victim. It's also beautiful to have a good bowel evacuation, a bowel movement, for example. If this is complete, I'm feeling healthy. If this is not working properly, or if I'm feeling after the meals like a victim, just fighting still with the meal itself, I'm pushed out of my balance, emotional balance. The deeper truth behind that is that the intestinal surface is the place where we are building a lot of neuroendocrine substances and neurotransmitters, such as, for example, serotonin. Serotonin, the happy-making hormone that we hope to find inside of chocolate, is produced by the intestinal cells. And if those intestinal cells are facing an environment where bacteria start because of me not able to digest my food properly, those bacteria start either fermentation and decay through the process of maldigestion. This is harming and irritating the cells, and the serotonin levels produced inside of my body and the happiness with it produced is going down. At the same time, it is that the serotonin is not only making me happy, but the serotonin is making my peristaltic movements inside of the intestine go. For those of you who have never heard about peristaltic movements, the gastrointestinal system is a very long muscle hose. It starts here and ends at the anus, and it has a length of approximately 28 to 32 feet length, so pretty long. To clean itself, it starts a movement like a little caterpillar. It is a ringworm. It is squeezing partly together and shifting the content to the next department, and then is forwarding its content to the next department.
So that starts here.
That starts here.
Okay.
Once you swallow, a peristaltic wave is bringing everything down. This is why you can eat something and swallow it, and it will find its way into the stomach, even if you are upside down and doing a handstand, for example.
Okay, wow, okay.
Yeah. So we need our intestine. If our intestine is in a good state, we are receiving a lot of neurotransmitters from it. And some of them are responsible for our happiness. Some of them are also important and necessary for us to fall asleep, to experience a rhythm, to have a peaceful and restful sleep at night. What is important to know is that inflammation is making us feel sick and age a little bit before time, and making me feel weak and alert. And all those qualities don't go together with the feeling of emotional balance and also of happiness.
You know, and that probably causes some stress inside your body, which gets reflected in mental stress, correct?
That is also correct, because if there's an inflammation going on, and again, the intestine is holding the biggest surface of all our human body surfaces against the outer world. And if the surface is penetrated or irritated too much, then our immune system that is placed to more than 2/3 of it inside of our intestine is starting an inflammation. This inflammation is communicated through the blood circulation and the lymphatic liquids, and is leading to a change of hormone expression inside of, for example, the pancreas or the adrenal glands. It is the cortisol emitted that is making me alert, making me also a little bit restless, making my stress resistance melt down to almost nothing. It is also making then my insulin to rise. A higher insulin level is leading to a higher metabolism. Initially, that sounds fantastic, because whenever you are stressed or inflamed, you are almost melting away. The pity is that with time, this is leading to an insulin resistance. And that is a pre-step of diabetes. So we have two things. Once the inflammation is affecting my metabolism as well as my hormonal system, and is because of that leading to an unhappy feeling. Secondly, if my gut is not in the best state, it is not able to produce the hormones, the actual hormones that are making my brain experience happiness and comfort.
Right. How does digestion affect immunity and energy levels?
So we do know that people do age in a different way. And if I'm looking left and right to my siblings, for example, or if I'm watching my parents or grandparents or friends, it is sometimes unfair of how differently they age. And we nowadays know that the process of aging is ruled by either the number of free radical assaults that we experience, like sunbathing, smoking, for example, consuming alcohols, or living in a very toxic environment, but also related to the number of micro-inflammatory processes that are taking place inside of our body. And again, there, 3/4 of your immune system or 2/3 of your immune system cells are located inside of your intestine. So if they are alert, the last third of the immune system is as well alert. So if your intestine is not suffering from maldigestion, is not suffering from irritation and sensitivity, the whole body is experiencing less of inflammation or can deal with inflammation much better. That means you have more resources left for defending against a virus coming from outside or defending against a bacteria coming from outside. Instinctively, we are doing the right thing. If I'm feeling affected by a virus, acutely, I stop eating. I lose all my appetite. This is not because I don't need antioxidants in this moment. It is just my body tells me, look, if you are now eating something, you will always risk with it that you cause an irritation inside of your gut, making part of your immune system now taking care of that, whereas it would be now more needful and useful to defend this particular virus, for example.
What are your top tips for fixing our digestive system?
First of all, really take the signs and the symptoms of your body as to be a valuable feedback. It's not an enemy that is in dialogue and in clinch with you and fighting with you. This is your body. You are hosting a human animal, and this is normally beautiful living in coexistence with your mind, with your fantasy, with your emotions. So if your body is making you sense, for example, an acid stomach or a painful stomach, or if your bowel movements are suddenly completely riot and you are suffering from diarrhea, then constipation, or the act of defecation is not properly, or if you feel bloated a lot, that is information that something needs to be improved when it comes to your digestion. So the most important thing is, whenever you feel something, don't run away and don't panic. When you have the feeling, it could maybe be connected to the intestine, what is true in 98 out of 100 cases, please start to enjoy your meals from the bottom of your heart. Smell on your meals, look at them, have a small bite, taste it, let the bite melt on top of your tongue. You will notice that if your meal is attracting you in a friendly and positive way, you have then across the day minimum 2 to 3 very beautiful experiences. And beautiful experiences are sometimes rare, especially now, and highly appreciated and are lifting my mind in total. Secondly, don't drink with the meals. Your body is composing according to what it feels and tastes inside of your mouth, a proper mixture of digestion liquids. Liquids, that means if they are concentrated, they are very efficient in working and transforming on your food and turning it into nutrition. But if you dilute it by drinking, for example, half a liter of water, no matter if hot or cold or with lemon, with ginger, with turmeric, or just green tea, whatever you add in this liquid will dilute the digestion liquids. And with that, you reduce your digestion power.
So how long before and after the meal should you not drink?
I would recommend normally to stop drinking around half an hour, 15 minutes prior to the first bite, and start again with the drinking and the act of hydration about 1 hour after the last bite you have had.
Okay.
That is giving a good time for you to digest and to enjoy your meals. Important is to be well hydrated, because liquids that you produce require liquid that is coming and allowing that is inside of your body. So drink a good amount of water between the meals.
Okay.
Yeah, we underestimate of how much is necessary. The fourth thing is you should leave the table the moment you feel satisfied. And satisfaction is not happening here. Satisfaction is a gut feeling. Yeah.
Right.
So if your belly is feeling warm, a little bit distended, but not heavy, not bursting full, leave the table. It is sometimes maybe hard to believe that everything should be satisfied right now, but leave the table. And if you're uncertain if it was a good idea, or if you left too late, climb some stairs afterwards. If you're climbing stairs afterwards and you're feeling your stomach is competing with your diaphragm and is competing with your breathing, you had too much. If you find it easy to climb the stairs, or as easy as before the meal, you did perfectly well. If after the meal, 1 hour later or 1.5 hours later, you feel like being narcoleptic, identify as narcoleptic or very sleepy, for example. That you find it hard to stay awake on your desk or in the car or wherever. Try to identify which food it was that you now introduced that you normally don't have, because it's most likely that you didn't digest or didn't tolerate this particular ingredient very well. Fifth thing is nothing raw in the evening. Everything that is raw is unprocessed, is holding a lot of antioxidants, fantastic things and nutrients. But
so no salads, no sushi?
No, everything that is raw is undamaged. And before I can enter and get in touch with the nutrients inside, I need to break down the fruit, then the fruit cell, then the cell filaments, then the macromolecules, and turn it into little bunches of molecules. And then I can digest it. Right. And at the end of the day, my stomach is as tired as my brain is, or my biceps or muscle or glutes or whatever else, and is not as good in digestion as it was before or at lunchtime or in the morning. So please, from 4 o'clock on afterwards in the afternoon, avoid raw food, avoid juices and also dried fruits, because dried fruits are estimated to be or understood to be raw. If I'm a proper chewer, if I let my bites melt inside of my mouth, having small bites initially and chew them properly, I can turn even a piece of my leather belt into something digestible.
Wow.
But at the same time, if I'm not chewing the piece of corn that was inside of the salad or on top of my pizza or in the curry, I will find this corn again afterwards inside of the toilet. And I had no benefit of it.
So how many times do you recommend chewing? I know you tell everyone who goes to Mayr that.
Look, I'm a foodie and I hate to think of something or anything else but eating when I'm eating. So I decide for myself to swallow a bite once it is liquid or feeling liquid inside, because then it's easy for me to swallow it and everything is fine. Yeah, that is working even if my schedule is super busy. Yeah, this is working also if I'm eating something that I'm not meant to eat because it's not great for me. But if I'm turning it inside of my mouth into a liquid, you can imagine this liquid is then dropping into the stomach acid, and the stomach acid is destroying it like that and turning it into a super liquid chime, destructively helping me to turn it afterwards into nutrition. If you need a number, 20 times, 40 times, the astronauts initially were asked to chew 100 times. And this is a nice thing. If you chew your foods and your bites very often, you will, first of all, swallow it very easily. You will never eat too much. That is not possible. If you don't have too much, you will not gain weight with that. So it's an easy way of how you lose weight. You will also not suffer from acidity, because you will feel it very quickly of what is suiting you more and what is suiting you less.
So we should never tell our children to hurry up. We should just tell them to take their time.
I do not know of how you managed it at home, but if I'm thinking of my grandparents or my grandparents, it was silent at the eating table. There was a lot of discussion afterwards. There was a lot of social talk afterwards, but while and during the meals, it was silent. Except, of course, it was a wedding or it was a big festivity. Then everything was different. But in the daily routine, we focus really on the meals. Don't expect the food to be the golden solution for your actual state of health. That will not happen, and you will not find a supplement. It is just the more confused you are and the more you are pushed out of your state of health, of ideal health, and you are feeling unwell, for example, and uncertain of what to do, the more important is it to make it very simple. Yeah? Simple means be well hydrated, yeah? Eat, but with your attention and full attention, turn it into something that is beneficial for you, feel afterwards good. If you feel good, you're on the safe side. And then you have energy enough to be physically active. You have energy enough also to rest beautifully throughout and across the night.
What are the cures you recommend for gastric issues, IBS, weight loss?
If you have a gastric problem and your gastric performance seems to be weak, attract your system a little bit more and introduce it to the food prior to the act of digestion. So please smell on it, look at it, have a small bite, or you use something like in the Ayurvedic medicine existing, the bitter herbs, the little bit acid flavors to make your Agni, your fire of digestion, burn again. Yeah?
Fantastic.
That is an easy thing. Also to do abdominal breathing. For irritable bowel syndrome, it is easy to say your symptoms are because you suffer from an irritable bowel syndrome. Please seek a qualified person that is going with you through your anamnesis, through your medical history, and is doing a proper examination with you, and then giving you a recommendation. If it's really just an irritable bowel syndrome that requires a very multimodal therapy, or if it is maybe more of an, for example, lactose or fructose intolerance. If I want to lose weight, I need to live a lifestyle that is making me burn calories more than I'm consuming calories. Simple as that.
Right.
So I cannot expect that I eat plenty of something and I'm losing because of that weight and being healthy. Of course, I can eat plenty of protein, for example, and cut out all the carbs. That is sounding nice and tempting because it is leading to a weight loss.
Right.
The thing is, we know by mammals, clinical trials, that those mammals are losing weight, but they are not living longer, and they are suffering in a higher percentage from cardiovascular events. So that's not optimum.
So it's not optimum. Yeah.
If you, on the other side, would consume a high amount of carbs and less of the proteins, you are gaining a little bit of weight, but you are gaining a little bit of weight, but you are living longer and you are living healthier. And if you combine that, for example, with an active lifestyle, with basic and good and daily physical activity, you don't need to be afraid of having too much of a weight. You will have plenty of energy, and everyone will see that.
So when you're saying more carbs, Dr. Fegerl, you're talking about fruit and vegetable? Are you also talking about grains?
Grains. Not everyone is able to digest grains fantastically. But again, if I'm eating grains and I'm feeling afterwards bloated, and I'm honestly questioning myself if I now consume too much of the grains, if this was not the case, then I have to say, okay, this kind of grain is not suiting me well. When it comes to the grains itself, the more warm they are, the more moisture they are, the easier digestible they are.
What do you do for acidity?
Acidity is something that is normally not so much a problem of the stomach, but it's much more a problem of the body, because our body is then abusing our stomach as to be an outlet for acids that it is unable to get rid of through other methods, like breathing it away, sweating it out, shifting it into the urine to get rid of it, or into the bowel movement. So it starts then to force the stomach producing acids, releasing those acids out of the body. The pity is the stomach hates acid and is very sensitive on it. So it is asking you for your help and assistance once it's experiencing this acidity, and you try to dilute it either with drinking something, but in our attempt to be super efficient, we don't drink, but we eat something then, and try to keep it calm. We use in Viva Mayr a special compound and composition of minerals that are fantastically helping. And those minerals are called the base 5. It's actually a bicarbonate of soda with some potassium and magnesium. And it is beautifully stopping the acidity inside of the stomach by reducing the acidity inside of the body.
If you suffer from mild constipation and anxiety while traveling, do you have any tips?
And stress is the opposite of digestion, is the opposite of a proper digestive, proper peristaltic movement. So the best thing would be, is really, first of all, try to avoid maldigestion by behaving good on foods. Secondly, hydrate yourself as good as possible. Third is, use bitter herbs like Karela juice or bitter gourd, for example, if you are suffering from constipation or anxiety while traveling. Hydrate yourself, chew properly, and help yourself with an extra dose of magnesium. Best possible, maybe a magnesium citrate that you take and mix with a little bit of water and consume half an hour before dinner or instead of dinner, drinking it like that. And you will satisfy your brain, you will support your intestine. Normally it is helping very well.
What is the impact of coffee on the gut?
If you are drinking coffee, you expect yourself to get a little bit more awake, or if you are very sensitive, more nervous. And nervous is turning the gut into a stone. That is not good. The beautiful thing about the coffee is it is bitter. Yeah. And if you are not diluting the bitter flavor by adding almond milk or whatever into it, if you consume it really real straightforward and you have the bitter taste, you are heating up, in this case again, your acne, you are making your liver release its digestion liquids and you will perform better on the digestion.
And what about things like, like the whole world is going crazy about kombucha and kimchi and things like fermented things. What's your opinion on those?
They can sometimes make really a big difference and can beautifully help people. Kimchi and natto are containing some prebiotics that are supporting the mucosa protective bacteria inside of the intestine. Kombucha is containing some probiotic sugar types, but mainly an microorganism that is allowing me to protect myself against big bacterial overgrowth. But again, you need there to be in a good health state to tolerate that, or you need to be guided to find to use the right tool in the right moment if you're suffering from symptoms at the moment. Intermittent fasting is fantastic.
Great, yes.
16 hours that you are not eating or that you are not eating something, and also please don't consume juices then. Don't snack in this time, just drink and hydrate and then have 2 meals or just 1 meal. And you will notice that if you are not making your body feel hungry afterwards or starving afterwards, you are beautifully finding back to your balance.
But Dr. Fegerl, people are doing it now as a lifestyle. Is that healthy? Like every day, they won't eat for 16, 17 hours. Is that okay?
Yes. Just exceptions like very young and very old people. They may need more the food in a higher frequency, and also some pregnant women. But pregnant women are normally suffering from a huge amount of acidity, and there, for example, the base powder is of great usage and help.
Yeah. Apple cider vinegar and sugar, separately, 2 separate questions.
Apple cider vinegar can affect us like an attractor. It can stimulate our digestion performance. And it is also affecting our body in a little bit alkaline way. But my problem with apple cider vinegar is it is a histamine liberating substance. And histamine is irritative. And as most of us do suffer from maldigestion at some stage, we are sensitive to histamine, almost everyone. That does not mean we are hereditary
intolerant. That's why we get the allergies, right? At pollen time.
That would be too simple, but that's why we, for example, suddenly experience that our skin is pigmenting quicker than it was pigmenting in the past, or more sensitive, or my nose, I'm suffering from a runny nose. or my skin is reacting with redness on trivial traumata or irritation.
Inflammation in the gut after taking vitamin tablets, do you have?
Look, if you take vitamin C, for example, in its pure form, the ascorbinic acid, yeah, of course, you will feel that, and it's not a nice feeling. This is why I would recommend in clients to take a puffered vitamin C that is not acid and that is easy digestible.
Hormones, polycystic ovaries, HRT. So I don't know if you want to quickly touch on it.
Almost every young woman is nowadays suffering and developing till the age of, till her mid-30s, for example, a polycystic ovary syndrome, or is suffering from fertility problems or hormonal imbalances, or that woman to struggle with the hormonal change then a few years later. It is not necessary to struggle too much. There is help available. There is also help possible. And not everything needs to be chemical. A lot can be done by a better and more carefully choose lifestyle. And this is where it's maybe worth to once in a while have a chat and go there into details.
Hiccuping and burping.
If you fill your stomach too much with the food and with the meal that you have that you consume, you can expect that the exit is stronger than the entrance, and it shows up again. And again, if you are suffering from higher state of acidity inside of the body and your body is using the stomach as to be an outlet for the acidity, that will always lead to an inappropriate peristaltic movement in between throat and also stomach in the esophagus. So there, for example, the usage of base powder in a quantity that is not too high, that means like, for example, a level teaspoon away from the meals with some water is always helping and can be used if you are not suffering from a kidney issue for most of your life.
What food should be avoided when someone has psoriasis?
Psoriasis is not only food related, but food is of course then triggering, or some foods are triggering. Those are gluten is then not great. Eggs and milk products, please, in small quantities, especially there the yogurts, the paneer and the soft cheese. Try to avoid the hot spices. That is important, like black pepper, chili, and try to avoid all foods that make you feel suffering from indigestion or maldigestion. That is a good information. But someone who is suffering from psoriasis or neurodermatitis, please consider also the emotional system to having a huge impact. That's the same also with chronic colitis ulcerosa or Crohn's disease, that this emotional excess is having a huge impact on our state of inflammation inside of the body.
What is the latest that one should eat?
Look, if you're eating a meal at nighttime, it must not disturb your night sleep. That's easy. For example, some people are night owls and some people are early birds. A teenager is a night owl.
Right.
I have to force the breakfast in. Or I just say, okay, look, I allow you not to have breakfast, but I'm eager that you have a proper lunch. Or if this is not possible, a silent and quiet and peaceful dinner. I would recommend not to eat after 9 o'clock in the evening. The earlier, the better. The earlier, the stronger is your stomach, the stronger is your gastrointestinal system.
How to improve spleen health?
That's a big question that is always related to the immune system, that is always related to the filters and venters our body has and own to detox and the blood building. Also here is the less inflammation is going on inside of the body, the better it is. The spleen is like a sponge, so what it needs to deal with should be as liquid as possible. And the spleen requires time to perform as its best. So the less you are challenging your spleen with intake from outside, or allowing itself, for example, to focus really on just what is going on inside of the body and not dealing with something, with some meals, for example, practicing the intermittent fasting, the better it would be for the spleen. But the spleen is something that is requiring, if struggling, really a very profound therapeutic strategy. But the simplest thing is keep inflammation reduced by making yourself experience as little inflammation as possible. Or in other words, you should live a lifestyle that is making you feel good.
But thank you so much. That was lovely. It was a very, very informative session. Thank you for listening to this chat. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to this page. Please subscribe to our podcast on Apple and Spotify, Wellness Curated, and follow us on Instagram, Wellness Curated, the number 1. Thank you.